The Bosphorus always carried stories. The Bosphorus always carried stories with the weight of centuries, but none were heavier than those whispered around the Maiden's tower, Kuskulesi, rising alone on the water like a forgotten dream. On stormy nights, fishermen swore they heard humming, drifting from the tower's stones, as if the structure itself was breathing, remembering, longing. For most people, the Maiden's Tower was just a monument, a romantic silhouette on postcards and Instagram photos. But for Elara, it was the only place in Istanbul where she felt understood. Elara had always lived with a particular kind of loneliness, the kind that stayed even in crowded rooms, buzzing like an untuned frequency. She was a historian by education, a storyteller by heart, and a wanderer in spirit. But lately, something in her life felt fractured, like a page missing from a history book. So one evening, when the city lights cast gold on the Bosphorus, she decided to take the last boat ride to the tower. The air was cold but gentle, carrying the taste of salt and the faint smell of old timber. As the small ferry approached, the Maiden's Tower rose taller, its windows glowing with warm yellow light. It looked less like a landmark and more like a soul waiting on the water. Inside, the evening crowd had thinned. The cafe at the base of the tower was closing, and only a single visitor remained, a man sketching by the window, entirely absorbed in his work. Elara didn't bother him. Instead, she climbed the narrow staircase, each step echoing with metallic notes. When she reached the top balcony, the city unfurled before her in silver and gold, the Bosphorus shimmering like a liquid mirror. She wrapped her coat tighter and leaned on the railing. "Are you lonely?" she whispered to the tower. A soft wind responded, brushing against her cheek like the stroke of an invisible hand. It was then she noticed something strange, a faint glow on the far wall, as though light seeped through from another time. She blinked, thinking it was a reflection, but the glow pulsed, once, twice, then spread like ripples on water. Elara stepped closer. The stone wall began to morph, revealing an old wooden door she had never seen before. Intricate patterns carved into its surface resembled ancient Ottoman motifs. Her heart pounded. This wasn't possible. She reached out, hesitating only for a breath, then touched the door. It opened soundlessly. Beyond it lay a room that shouldn't exist, a circular chamber filled with soft lantern light. Books lined the walls. Old maps were scattered on a wooden table, and in the center of the room, standing as if he'd always been there, was a man wearing a long navy blue coat embroidered with gold. He turned slowly, eyes dark as midnight, face illuminated by lantern glow. "I've been waiting for you," he said. Elara froze. "Who are you? How did you know?" "You hear the tower," he interrupted gently. "And the tower hears you." She swallowed hard. "This room shouldn't be here." "Few see it," the man replied. "Only those the tower allows." His voice was calm, resonant, carrying centuries. She studied him, his posture regal, his expression burdened yet soft. He seemed displaced, a man out of time. "What is your name?" she asked. "Aras," he answered. "Guardian of the tower." Elara let out a disbelieving laugh. "Guardian? Not in the way you imagine. I am bound to this place. My duty is to keep the stories alive, to protect what time seeks to erase." She stepped closer, curiosity overshadowing fear. "Why would the tower choose me?" Aras looked at her with an expression that felt both familiar and impossible. "Because you carry the same loneliness she carries." The room grew silent. Elara felt the words sink into her chest like stones in deep water. "The tower is lonely," she whispered. Aras nodded. She has stood here for centuries, watching empires rise and fall, lovers come and go, Wars stain the water red. She has been a lighthouse, a prison, a refuge, a tomb. And in every lifetime, she forms a bond with one soul, someone who understands her silence. Ilara stepped back, breath unsteady. But why me? Because your heart echoes hers, Eras replied. You feel forgotten, misplaced, seen, yet unseen. Her eyes stung. No one had spoken her truth so plainly before. Aras approached slowly, like someone approaching a frightened bird. Come, he said, gesturing to the window. Let me show you what she remembers. The window shimmered. Suddenly the Bosphorus blurred and shifted. The city lights faded. In their place appeared an ancient shoreline. Wooden boats, torches, soldiers, and a young woman standing on the tower balcony. Her hair braided with gold threads, eyes filled with sorrow. Princess, Ilara breathed. The one of the legend. She was real, Aras said quietly. But her story was not one of snakes or superstition. She loved a man her father forbade. The tower became her prison and her witness. The scene changed. Tea,